This Sunday on Capital Connection, the Illinois Senate tries to tackle climate change.
We are serious about tackling this problem in a way that makes Illinois the epicenter of the green economy.
Why the Senate plan would still allow the nation's 7th largest carbon polluter to keep polluting for 24 more years. And
what we don't want to do is, yes, set a signal that we're going to be fossil-free eventually without doing anything between now and that date to make our lungs healthier.
And what's in it for Exelon? How the ethics, energy policy, and business sense all stacks up.
We've been threatened and pushed around by a corporation that has admitted to criminal wrongdoing.
Plus, gerrymandering hardball, round 2. Democrats in the House and Senate muscle through their updated maps. They're on their way to Governor Pritzker's desk.
The majority party kind of has the upper hand in drawing maps.
Who's calling for him to veto them this time? It's all coming up on Capital Connection.
From the Illinois State Capitol Rotunda, Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell is asking the tough questions. This is Capital Connection.
Welcome to Capital Connection. I'm Mark Maxwell reporting from the Illinois State House on this Sunday, September 5th. Earlier in the week, late on Tuesday, early into Wednesday morning, the Illinois Senate passed a massive climate change bill, one that would alter and shift the future of the state's energy portfolio, putting 1 million electric vehicles on Illinois roads over the next 9 years, starting the closure of private coal and natural gas power plants between now and then, handing nearly $700 million in state taxpayer funds to Exelon to keep its nuclear power plants open, and also pushing toward 2045 to permanently close Prairie State and City Water, Light and Power, the 2 coal plants downstate that provide a lot of energy for a lot of homeowners and businesses in southern and central Illinois. To do that, though, this version of the bill would allow those 2 plants to continue polluting with no restrictions for the next 24 years, something Governor Pritzker would rather see changed before the House passes this bill to his desk.
I think the sticking points are whether or not we can have a hard end date on use of fossil fuels in the electric sector, and are we going to make reductions along the way to that date? Are we going to take steps now, before coal is gone for good, to begin to clean the air we breathe more than we have? I think that's really important because we're talking about dates that are decades into the future, perhaps into the 2040s.
We offered a variation on that in the bill we filed earlier in the week. But it didn't have the hard close date. There was a trade-off between the massive investment required for that carbon reduction in the short run versus the length that the plant would need to run to recover it. We countered today with a hard close of that plant. I think that there are some advocates who want both. I don't know if that's economically feasible. If the governor can negotiate that, I think he'd have broad support in the Senate. But I think that's a tall order.
What we don't want to do is, yes, set a signal that we're going to be fossil-free eventually without doing anything between now and that date to make our lungs healthier and begin to move us more quickly into the clean energy economy.
The governor's been talking for the past year about wanting to shut down the Prairie State Energy, and it seems to me that he's very interested in getting a scalp where he can, show his environmental friends. But, I've been down there, and I think he should spend some time down there. And the way that the governor and the environmentalists talk about Prairie State Energy, you'd be walking in, you'd think that I was entering Chernobyl, and it was just the opposite. It's a very, I would say, very clean plant.
I think what Governor Pritzker is doing is listening to science and the urgency of acting on climate change. I have been very impressed with the fact that the facts are what matters here, that allowing the state's largest polluter to run unfettered for decades is not a bold climate solution. I don't think this is politics. I think this is science, and trying to get politics to adopt solutions that are based in science sometimes is tricky.
Well, we're in the midst of a transformation to a new green economy. I think the coal plants are headed out regardless of the legislative action.
It needs to be a responsible portfolio of energy in Illinois, and that means everybody's got to be able to negotiate, whether it's the coal industry, the renewable fuels, and also our nuclear fleet.
If there are concerns about grid reliability, it would delay the closure of some of the gas plants. So there is a provision in the bill that will examine and make sure that renewable generation and battery storage has gone up before some of the closures are allowed to happen.
It's about having reliability and having a diverse portfolio of energy. It was only just a few years ago when we had the polar vortex that when it hit the Chicago area and most of the state, that the only way that houses and businesses were being heated was through the nuclear plants. So I see value in it. I'm not sure if I agree with Exelon's position of what they need, but I also know that this is a major, major employer in different regions of the state. And that cannot be ignored if there's a decommissioning of any of these facilities, of what the impact is going to be not only on the families and the employees, but also on the local districts, the counties, the townships, municipalities, and our schools that rely upon them. You can't ignore what their impact will be if there is going to be a loss of one of those reactors.
This bill will provide financial assistance in the form of carbon mitigation credits to the Byron, Dresden, Braidwood nuclear plants for a 5-year period.